everybody, it's Katie Jo with the Soil Bar, and today we are going to be talking about amendments. So all different kinds of soil amendments. To answer all of your questions, we're just going to go over a basic overview of what they are, how to use them, and what their purpose is, and then the different ones you can purchase or purchase from the Soil Bar, and how we use them in our soil mix. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's talk about what amendments are. And essentially what it's doing, our amendments are creating an environment for your soil that is going to mimic its natural habitat. So within your pot. So what we need are three important things. We need oxygen for the roots, we need water for the roots, and we need drainage. Because water naturally is going to flow away from the plant and the root system. It's never going to be like sitting in water unless it's some aquatic plant. So in order to obtain those three things, there are a whole myriad of different soil amendments that you can use to achieve those properties. So we utilize basically all of them, or most of them, the ones that are natural and organic and good for plants. We don't use any like weird fillers or synthetic products at all. So let's just talk about some of the different amendments and how they touch on those three key categories: oxygen, water, and drainage. So first and foremost, let's talk about Coarse Grit amendment. So this is like gritty, it's not clay sand, but it does have some coarse silica sand in it, and other gritty amendments, and this is what is providing drainage. So it is the sand component. We like to use a coarser type because that really helps break up the soil as well. But that is what is going to promote drainage. So the more grit amendment you have, the more drainage you're going to have. And what kind of plants like a lot of drainage are ones that like to dry out. So your Hoya, your succulents, your cacti, those, if you think about it, because you know they're in the desert or in their rocky, kind of craggy areas, with lots of coarse amendment, so that water, they get really well saturated. Sorry for that white being white. They get really well saturated, but then all the water washes away. So for like a succulent mix, we use our gritty amendment, and we use a lot of it because that's what succulents like. Now, another one that you guys some of you may be familiar with already, is perlite. So perlite, you can see here, this is coarse perlite. Sometimes you'll find it in actually most of the time you'll find it in really small particle size. But what perlite does is it provides that oxygenation to your soil. So it prevents the soil from getting really compact, because really compact soil means that there's less air porosity, there's less airflow in there. And without oxygen, the roots will die. So, and your soil will get really compact and the roots can't really get through it. So what perlite does is it keeps it broken up, it keeps it airy, and it allows that oxygen to pass through. And that's why a lot of people use terracotta pots as well, because this also has really good porosity and it allows oxygen to pass through the terracotta and to the soil and to the roots. So potting cacti in terracotta is a good idea, paired with a succulent mix that has plenty of grit in it, and also of course some perlite. Next is vermiculite. So I have some vermiculite here, and it's really fine grained particles here, and a lot of people think that vermiculite can be kind of interchanged with perlite, and that is not the case. Vermiculite, if I was to look at this under a microscope, they are like little accordions, and they fill with water and they hold on to water. So they're like little sponges. So they act as that third component, which is adding water and keeping moisture retained within the soil mix. They do also help break it up a little bit and prevent it from getting compact, but their real purpose is holding on to that moisture. So be careful with vermiculite. You don't want to use too much of it. You want to know when you're using it. Like we use it in our calathea mix and some of our other blends, like for ferns and that sort of thing. Types of plants that like to be kept consistently moist, their soil, then we might add a little bit of vermiculite, but we still use it very sparingly. So that's the water component. So now we've got the three components. I just highlighted it in three different grow media. So we've got the grit component, which is your drainage, perlite, which gives the oxygenation, and vermiculite, which helps with that moisture retention. So let's talk about some of these other ones. You're probably wondering, like, what else do I have in here? So this is diatomaceous earth, or we call it diamite, and it is a coarse grade, and this will help with breaking up the soil, preventing compaction, so it allows that oxygen to get through. It also helps with drainage. So some of these can be dual or even purpose amendments. And then here's some fir bark. Fir bark is great because it, first of all, oh, it smells so good. It smells like an Aveda salon, or like, I don't know, some really good looking guy who's like a lumberjack but like bathes regularly. You know, just like a good earthy smell. I love the smell of it. Sorry. I digress. Okay, back on track. So fir bark, we add this in our like aroid mix, for example, and because aroids grow on trees, and or another surface, or they're epiphytes, right? So they're used to a barky mixture, a chunky mixture, and also fir bark will retain maybe a little bit of water, but it's going to break up that soil and really allow that oxygen exchange. Sorry, I talk with my hands. I need to like knock it off a little bit. Another one here is leca, and some of you may be familiar with leca. It's expanded clay, so they're really lightweight. They, I heard somebody call them once forbidden cocoa puffs, which I thought was funny. It makes me hungry. And you use them in hydroponics with just like water, a water system, but you can also, we use them in our chunky mix, which is our chunkiest of chunky. Like our aroid mix is pretty chunky, but then the chunky mix is like, whoa, really chunky. That was very, yeah, okay, moving right along. So let me show you our chunky mix. So this is our chunky mix, and it is chunky. So that is great because those leca balls there, that's really going to allow lots of oxygen to get to the roots. It's also got chunky perlite in it. And then it has cocoa coir, which is good for water retention. And also it just acts as your base media. And then cocoa, sorry, I keep thinking the camera's over there. Cocoa chips like this. And these are like little sponges. So similar to vermiculite, that's your moisture. That's your moisture element that's going to help with that. And then we've got some charcoal. So charcoal is great because it helps with filtration. So any impurities, that's kind of like a, you know, I named the three elements that a good soil has: moisture, retention, drainage, and oxygenation. And then you could say a fourth one would, you know, charcoal X to filter out impurities. But in line with those three core elements, this will also help with aeration and drainage, because it's helping to break up the soil. And I think that's a pretty good overview. I think that's good. I think you guys get the gist of it. So then we just kind of will, basically it's different amounts of different amendments are going to help based on the type of plant you have. If you've got a pothos like this mandula here, we're using our aroid mix, because pothos, they like to be not wet all the time, so they like a good chunky airy mix with bark in it, coarse perlite, cocoa coir in it to hold on to some of that moisture but still allow that free drainage. And then on the other hand, we've got something like a cacti like this guy here, and this is in our succulent and cacti mix, so it has a lot of that. The first one I showed you, the coarse grit, so this guy is going to really drain freely. A lot of that water is just going to go straight through. And that's why we also put them in terracotta, like I mentioned. Oh. Oh. Something just went down the wrong pipe. I hate editing videos. So, this is going to be in the this is going to be in the final version. Is it really? I have no shame. Anyway, yep, it is. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like more videos of me coughing and gagging on myself, no, I will get with the prog, and I will start editing my videos if you guys request it with much sadness. I will begin being more professional. But yeah, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have any requests on videos that you would like us to cover. I am more than happy to do so. I love talking about soil and all things planty. Also, it doesn't have to be just soil. If you have any questions about houseplants, has this been in the frame the whole time? Feel free to ask me anything. I think I've been looking at the home button instead of the camera the whole time. You guys like my apron? Going up. Okay, so now you can turn off this video, or if you keep watching, these are like the outtakes, and I'm just gonna kind of like talk. So yeah, I got this apron on Amazon. Isn't it cute? I love it. It's been great. It doesn't really help with keeping me cleaner. I'm still covered in dirt and stuff, but I like all the pockets. And then this is this. What has this been in the frame the whole time? Kathy. I'm gonna have to redo this video, or should I just post it like this? It's not like I have a ton of followers. Who cares? So yeah. The end. Oh, see, I'm still looking at the home button. Camera. Happy planting, guys.